The deal is done. Trump flew to Beijing, shook hands with Xi, signed the paper, and within 24 hours, every anchor on CNN, Fox, and CNBC was talking about tariffs, trade deficits, and soybeans. Meanwhile, quietly, almost invisibly, silver just crossed $88 an ounce. And nobody in the Western media said a single word about it, not one word. Here's what's actually happening, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. The US-China trade deal that just got signed, this isn't just a trade agreement, this is a manufacturing green light. China just got the signal to scale up. Scale up solar panels, scale up electric vehicles, scale up semiconductors and consumer electronics. And every single one of those industries runs on silver. Not gold, silver. Gold sits in vaults, silver goes to work, it goes into solar cells, EV batteries, circuit boards, and 5G infrastructure. And China just got permission, actually got encouraged, to produce more of all of it. So let's do the math that Wall Street isn't doing on television right now. China is already the world's largest consumer of silver. Before this deal, they were buying. Now, they have a mandate to accelerate. India, watching from the sidelines, has been on a silver import surge that stunned analysts. $6 billion in a single quarter. They saw this coming before the deal was even announced. The East was positioning, quietly, patiently, while the West was distracted by the headlines. And here's the part that should make every American investor stop and think. The United States has virtually no strategic silver reserve. None. The U.S. government sold off its silver stockpile decades ago. There is no backup plan. No emergency supply. When industrial demand spikes, and it is spiking, America goes to the open market and competes with China, India, and every other nation that has been stacking for years. Right now, silver is sitting at $88 an ounce. 12 months ago, it was under $30. That's not a bubble. That's not speculation. That's a structural shift in global demand that is only accelerating because of this deal. But here's the part the mainstream financial media completely missed in their trade deal coverage, and this is the core of what we're talking about today. The trade deal benefits East either way. Think about that for a second. If the deal holds, China manufactures more. Silver demand goes up, price goes up, East wins. If the deal falls apart, and deals with this administration have fallen apart before, China retaliates. They restrict rare earth exports. They slow silver supply chains. Price goes up, East wins. There's no scenario in this deal where the East loses on silver, and there is no scenario where the West, which holds almost no physical silver, no reserves, no strategic supply, comes out ahead. The West made a bet that globalization would always keep prices low and supply chains open. That bet is being called right now. Silver at $88 is not the ceiling. Multiple institutions, and we'll get into the specific names and numbers, have published targets ranging from $150 to over $300 per ounce within the next 18 to 36 months. Not fringe analysts, not YouTube channels. We're talking about Bank of America, JPMorgan, and sovereign wealth funds that have been quietly accumulating physical silver for the past 2 years. The question isn't whether silver is going higher. The question is, why doesn't the average American investor know this yet? Stay with me. Because what comes next explains everything. Let's go back to 2020 for a moment. When COVID hit and global supply chains collapsed, the world got its first real warning about what happens when you depend on one region for critical industrial materials. Governments panicked, factories shut down, ships sat empty in harbors. Most people remember that crisis as a chip shortage, a toilet paper shortage, a supply chain problem. What they don't remember, because it wasn't covered, is that silver nearly ran out of deliverable supply on the COMEX exchange in New York. The vaults were being drained. Premiums on physical silver hit levels nobody had seen in decades. The paper price and the real-world physical price split apart. That was a warning shot. The East heard it loud and clear. China began systematically increasing its silver reserves and redirecting domestic silver supply away from exports. India accelerated its import program. The Shanghai Futures Exchange saw silver trading volume explode. Central banks across Southeast Asia quietly began treating silver the way they'd always treated gold, as a monetary and strategic asset. The West went back to watching the stock market. Now fast forward to today. The trade deal that just got signed in Beijing does something very specific that nobody's talking about. It removes the highest tariff barriers on Chinese manufactured goods in the clean energy and electronics sectors. That means Chinese solar panels, batteries, and electronics get easier access to global markets. And to produce all of that at scale, China needs silver. More silver than it currently has access to domestically. So what does China do? It buys on the open market, aggressively, at whatever price it takes, and silver responds. It always responds. Here's a number that will put this in perspective. The solar industry alone consumed approximately 232 million ounces of silver in the last reported year. That's roughly 20% of total global silver supply, used in just one industry. With this trade deal accelerating solar manufacturing, analysts at major institutions are projecting solar silver demand to hit 400 million ounces annually within 3 years. Total global silver mining production? About 820 million ounces per year. You do the math. One industry, half the world's annual mine supply. And that's before you count EVs, 5G, semiconductors, and military applications. The deficit isn't coming. The deficit is already here. Silver has been in a structural supply deficit for 3 consecutive years. The above-ground stockpiles that used to buffer the market have been steadily drawn down. There is no surplus sitting in a warehouse somewhere waiting to suppress prices, which brings us to JPMorgan. JPMorgan is the largest holder of physical silver in the world. They have been accumulating for years, not silver futures, not paper contracts, actual physical silver sitting in their vaults. When the largest bank in America is betting its own balance sheet on physical silver, that is not a coincidence. That is a strategy. And while JP Morgan was stacking, the average American investor was being told by financial advisors to put money into index funds and forget about it. The East and the institutions knew something the retail investor did not. Silver is not just a precious metal anymore. It's not just jewelry and silverware. Silver is the oil of the 21st century. Every green energy transition, every tech upgrade, every military modernization, all of it requires silver. And unlike oil, silver is not replaceable. There is no substitute that works at scale in solar cells. There is no alternative that conducts electricity the way silver does. The demand is structural, the supply is limited, and the trade deal just poured fuel on a fire that was already burning. Here's the question I want you to sit with for a moment. You probably heard about the Trump-Beijing deal on the news. Maybe you saw the handshake. Maybe you heard about tariff reductions. Maybe you thought, okay, trade war cooling down, markets will go up, back to normal. That's exactly what the West wants you to think. Because while you're watching the handshake, the real transaction is happening behind the camera. China is locking in supply chains. India is buying silver by the ton. Sovereign wealth funds from the Gulf to Southeast Asia are converting paper assets into physical precious metals. And silver, sitting right now at $88 an ounce, is the centerpiece of that entire strategy. Let's talk about what $88 actually means in context. In January 2024, silver was at $23. In 12 months, it more than tripled. Most analysts who follow precious metals, not the ones on CNBC, but the ones who publish for institutional clients, were not surprised. They had been publishing research for 2 years saying this was coming. Bank of America published a report with a silver price target of $309, not $100, not $150, $309 per ounce. Their reasoning? The same reasoning we've been walking through today. Industrial demand driven by green energy and tech, supply constraints from mining limitations, and a geopolitical shift in where metals are flowing in the world. Now, here's where it gets personal for the everyday American investor. The average American has exposure to stocks, maybe bonds, maybe real estate. Very few have any exposure to physical silver or silver mining stocks. The financial advisory industry, which makes its money from managing stock and bond portfolios, has very little incentive to tell you about silver. But the data doesn't lie. Since 2020, silver has outperformed the S&P 500. It has outperformed most real estate markets. And it has done so with a fundamental demand story underneath it that only gets stronger every time a new trade deal gets signed, every time a new solar farm breaks ground, every time a new EV factory opens. And the West is still not paying attention. Here's another data point that stopped me cold when I first looked at it. India, which has a deep cultural relationship with silver going back thousands of years, imported a record amount of silver in the most recent quarter. The number was staggering. Analysts called it a temporary surge. Then the next quarter came in just as high. Then the next. India's middle class is expanding at a pace the Western world cannot match. They are converting savings into silver, physical silver, the kind you hold in your hand. And they are doing it at a pace that is pulling global supply away from Western markets. Meanwhile, the U.S. Mint has had multiple instances in recent years of running out of silver eagle coins, the official government silver bullion coins, because demand outstripped production. Let that sink in. The United States government could not keep up with demand for its own silver coins. The deal is done. The manufacturing mandate is in place. The demand is accelerating. And America has no reserve, no strategy, and no plan. East wins either way. Not because the East got lucky, because the East planned this. While Western investors were watching stock tickers, Eastern governments and institutions were reading supply chain data, geopolitical maps, and commodity forecasts. They knew where the world was going. They positioned early. And now the rest of the world is catching up, whether they want to or not. So where does this leave you? That's the real question. Not where does it leave China, not where does it leave Wall Street, where does it leave you, The person watching this right now, trying to figure out what to do with your savings, your investments, your financial future. Let's be direct. Silver at $88 is not the end of the story. Every structural indicator, supply deficits, accelerating industrial demand, Eastern accumulation, institutional buying, points to prices significantly higher than where we are today. Bank of America says $309. Other analysts have published targets above $150 in the near term. The Silver Institute, which tracks global supply and demand, has confirmed 3 consecutive years of structural deficit. But here's what I want you to understand about timing. The people who benefit most from a major commodity move are not the ones who buy at the top. They're the ones who understood the story before it became obvious, before every financial news outlet was running silver stories, before your financial advisor was recommending it, before the retail rush. Right now, the mainstream financial media is still not covering silver seriously. They're covering the trade deal. They're covering tariffs. They're covering political storylines. Silver is getting a footnote, if anything. That gap between what is actually happening in the silver market and what is being covered in mainstream media, that gap is the opportunity. And historically, gaps like this don't stay open forever. When the Western retail investor finally wakes up to the silver story, and they will, the data makes that inevitable, the price will move fast. It always does. Because silver is a relatively small market compared to gold or the stock market. When large amounts of new money flow in, price responds dramatically and quickly. We've already seen this happen twice in the last 5 years. And each time, the people who were positioned early did extraordinarily well. The people who rushed in after the headlines, they bought near the top. Now, a word of transparency, because this channel is built on logic, not hype. Silver is not a guaranteed investment. No investment is. There are scenarios where prices pull back. If a global recession crushes industrial demand, if major new silver mines come online, if the trade deal collapses in a way that slows manufacturing globally. These are real risks, and you should understand them. But the structural case, the long-term fundamental data-driven case for silver, has never been stronger than it is right now. And the trade deal that just got signed only strengthens it. The East planned this. They played the long game. And now the board is set. America still has no silver reserve. And the West is still looking at the handshake. And silver is sitting at $88, waiting for the rest of the world to catch up. East wins either way. The deal is done. This is OG from the Asian guy. Invest with logic, not hype. OG out.